everybody, it is Amanda from Flow, from Irwin, now recently moved to the internet thanks to the coronavirus. Today we are going to be working on some really cool silvery, shimmery Christmas tree ornaments. These ones are pine trees themselves and decorated, but you can do whatever shape or design that you like, and the fun part is it's all stuff that you can find around your house. Let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about what type of supplies we're going to need for this project. I have a couple different sheets of construction paper. I have more than just these two colors, but just as an example, I am using one of my boxes. This could be a cereal box, this could be a Pop-Tarts box, it could be from noodles, whatever you have. We're just trying to recycle and utilize things from around our house to make some cool art projects. Now I already have some pieces cut out, so that's what I'll be using for mine. They're kind of smaller, which is great because it's a little bit easier to work with. And then you'll also need some aluminum foil. You'll need a pair of scissors, either a pen or a pencil, and some glue. You might also want to have some ribbon or some string on hand, but I am just going to use some paper scraps to turn into a paper ribbon for my project. So let's move this out of the way and get started. So I do have a few of these pieces of cardboard, and it doesn't matter if they're messy or anything like that, because we are going to cover that right up with our aluminum foil. I think I'm going to do two today. Both of them are going to be pretty simplistic. They're basically just going to be a triangle, and so if you need to, you can use the edge of one of the pieces that you have and you can create a triangle that way so that you can have it nice and straight. Okay, sometimes my pens don't like to work. Keep these edges nice and straight. So this one's going to be a nice tall one, and this one will be a shorter one, and I'll show you this one without having a straight edge on it. I want this one to be a little bit wider, and it's a little bit off center, and that's perfectly fine. That gives character to it. I'm gonna now cut these pieces, these shapes, out with my scissors. And again, you can try other shapes. You don't have to just use the tree shape that I'm using. But let's take our aluminum foil now. This is way bigger than I need for my tree guys here. And we're really just gonna be focusing on decorating only one side, but you can decorate both if you like. But the reason I mention that is because our back sides don't have to look so perfect. We're gonna have wrinkly foil, and that's okay. But I'm just gonna cut this piece of foil right in half. Okay. And I am going to flip this over onto the duller side, and I'm going to do that for both of these. And I am going to add some glue to whichever side, really, of my triangle Christmas trees. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can spread it around if you like. By spreading it around, and I'm using my finger for this, by spreading it around, you'll leave less bumps, and it'll be a smoother surface for your aluminum foil. So we'll take this as soon as I can grip it, and I'm gonna just put it right in the middle there. Now again, this is a lot more aluminum foil than I actually need. You can probably get 2 or 3 of these trees out of this one sheet, but this is just for an example. I'm going to also add some glue to the back, same way that we just did the other side, where I'm going to smear it around. I'm going to fold in each side, and so I really do kind of want to cut down some of these edges. So I'll cut this one down first. And we'll cut these a little bit wider because I want them to overlap pretty nicely. And we can always trim too once we have our sides folded in. We'll set that aluminum foil aside. And so I'm just gonna fold in each part of this, okay, right up to the edge of the tree on the inside there. Okay, and you can see that I'll have to trim off that there, and that's completely fine. And I'll end up having to trim off this too. Okay, so we'll just trim off the edges here, and you can see we have a really nice smooth surface. So I'm just trimming this, and we'll trim this top part. Okay, put my scraps to the side, and now here's a good point to pause until you get caught up, and I am going to work on this second one while you get caught up. Now I have two different pine trees, and they are two different heights, probably about the same width, but maybe one's a little bit bigger. And from here, I want to start cutting out some decorations for my pine trees. So I'm going to take some of my construction paper. I have some green right here, and I'm just gonna slice off a little bit of this to work with since my pine trees are small. And so I think what I want to do is make garland out of this green construction paper here. And so I'm going to first take some strips out of this, trim them, and these are going to be two different Christmas trees, so we don't have to use the same colors or anything like that. But I'm going to take this here, and I'll take my glue, and I'll put some glue very lightly on here. It does not have to be very thick. And I'm going to put it at an angle on my tree. Okay, and I'll do that with the other ones too. And I'm trying to keep in mind that it's not going to need to go the whole way. So I'm not going from edge to edge. I'm just going a little bit on the inside here. Okay, and then this one even less is needed, so we just do a little, just like a little dot. I'll put that up there. We can put this aside so it can dry, and then we can trim off the edges on each side, and in the meantime I can make the garland for that one. On here, I'm going to flip this over to trim to the edge. It's kind of perfectly in line whenever I cut from the back. Now you can make these into small circles, or if you have a hole punch, you can hole punch out some perfect circles for your ornaments and everything. I am just going to personally use my scraps, and I kind of like the idea of doing some square ornaments. So with those yellow pieces that I have, and I can do the tiniest little dots. These are the scraps that I just cut off. And I can add these on my tree like that. And I can cut them down more if I need to. And I will use some red for my other one. And I'm just gonna cut a long strip of this again. And I think I wanna even try on this one, maybe doing garland in the other direction instead of just ornaments. And I'm going to take a little bit of this red and do some more square cuts for my ornaments on my green garland tree. Maybe you're adding stickers instead of little glued construction paper, and ready to trim on here. I love it. I'm very excited about them. They're simple, but the shininess of the foil makes them look, you know, just next level. Okay, so now from here, and you can pause at this moment if you're not caught up to this point yet, but from here I'm going to create some very small paper loops that we can hang our trees by. And just take a look at the back of this again. So it doesn't look super imperfect. You could add more decorations on this side if you want. I'm leaving my blank because I just want to focus on the front side. And I'm going to use some red, I think, strips for both of these. And I don't think I'll need much. I'm going to cut out 2 strips of red for my paper ribbon. Now this paper is super delicate whenever you're using it for ribbon, so try not to be too rough with it. Try not to tug on it or anything like that. Be gentle when you're putting it on your tree. Now I'm going to gently flip these over because these are still wet, but you can wait until yours are dry. The way that I like to do my gluing for Christmas ornaments is to put the glue on the same side of the paper. Okay, and then I will put one side down here, and then I'll put that other dot right on top of that, and it creates this nice loop so that you can see the ornament once it's all done and hanging. Now you want to definitely hold that down while it's drying for a little bit until it gets pretty settled in there, because it is aluminum foil, so it's not as adhesive as gluing paper to paper. Okay, and I can flip this over and let it rest and dry that way. And so if you end up having some glue on your aluminum foil like I do here, don't worry about it. You can kind of peel that off or scrape it off a little bit once it's dry, or you can leave it on there as part of the decorative element. But I'll do this ribbon here as well. Again, I'm gluing a dot on each end on the same side, and I'm going to put one side down, and I'll hold that, and then I'll put the other side down as well, which I just glued my finger. That's okay. Okay, now again, hold that down for a little bit while it dries. All that glue on my finger, none on the paper. Okay, and I'm just holding this down for a moment while that sets. Here are our finished products. Nice, shiny, shimmery Christmas tree ornaments. And like I said, you can do any shape that you want to do. If you want to do a 4-point star, if you want to do a circle and get decorative with that. It's all the same basic element. You just have to be careful whenever you're putting your aluminum foil on there. Wrapping it around the back gets a little bit different with each shape. But so long as you have the nice, smooth, solid front, anything will really work with this. I hope that you've enjoyed this craft. I hope that you've gotten really creative with it. Thanks for joining me today. And I hope that you and your family have a very happy and healthy holiday season and a happy new year.